Good. Hi, good evening. Let's get started with the pledge of allegiance. Moment silent for the Department. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing. Thank you. Evening, welcome. Just let the record show Commissioner Scapegoat is not going to be here tonight. He's excused. So, in of course, places. Roll call when ready, Sean.
Chris.
Here.
Rich. Ryan.
Here.
And Dan.
Here. All right. Do we have anything for public session on the agenda items only at this time? Public session, agenda items only. So hearing none, moving right into the district building report. We're going to have a couple different people talking here. We'll start with Joey. We do have Mr. Anchor here. Welcome. Thank you. So
I'm gonna make it very short tonight. Since last month to this month, they've made a lot of progress. Most of the sheet rocking upstairs is done now. They're doing a few little things that start taping today. A lot of little things around it. The station did get finished, concrete and that kind of thing. So we're on the move now. So even since last time you've been over there, Brian, there's a lot of improvement. The roof tops and everything are good. The roof is good. They patched that. So
okay.
That'll be just a brief update that I got for you guys, because these guys have some other important things to do. So I'll just give it to Ed and
And I appreciate it. I don't want to like a broker, but thanks, for everything you're doing, especially. Just one little reminder also, like if you just get back to the committee members, you're doing great work. Bob's doing a lot of good work on this. Just, if the committee members have questions, they should be funneling them through you to Bob.
yeah.
Bob's kind of working outside of his scope of his normal duties as it is, which we really appreciate, but, and if there's concerns, whatever, get a hold of Chris or I, and
Yeah.
we'll be able to, I don't want to say run interference, but hopefully address any issues or questions.
Well, everything has been good the last couple of weeks. So I think we ironed out a couple of the homes. So looks like we're in the right direction now.
I appreciate that. I know, if you go to your Dropbox, near the bottom, you see there's a document update by our Durivage Dropbox there. Next, Bob kind of speak briefly as to where we're not necessarily briefly, but as needed to show where we are, what's going on, and kind of give us some ideas with the budget and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Also, Ed's here for questions.
Yep.
And also, Ed, were you going to talk, or is it just formal questions?
No, I'm just answering questions.
Okay.
Other than anything specific, I'll hopefully be able to explain where you need.
All right, thank you.
So what we want to do is just draw your attention to three of the documents. It's going to be the contingency document, the incidental, and the bid tabulation budgets, and they're all in the one document. The reason why I asked Ed to be here is we're kind of at that point of the project where the contingency budget did take a pretty good hit. We'll talk a little bit more why it took some hits. And of course, Ed is here so that if you have questions about that, he can answer. I think we did say right from the beginning that when you're doing a renovation project, a lot of instances, until you get the walls opened up, you really don't know what you have and what you need to do. And I will tell you that with the exception of really one or two surprises, everything was thought out between the architect, Joe, and myself of looking for the next 50 years. Okay, we don't want to shortcut ourselves and then all of a sudden 10 years later go, oh, we ran into that problem because we didn't want to spend $3,000. And that's For instance, the generator system. There were a couple tweaks we made with the generator system to make it the most state-of-the-art as it possibly can be for today. Because as we know, as time goes on, that will change. So the first thing I want to take your attention to is the bid tabulation. That's this one that's in the document. So really not a lot has changed with this document. There's just a couple things I want to point out to the far right of that is the total project cost we were anticipating as $2,665,891. So that's not changing. We're hoping that that's where we're going to be. In the $184,267, that was unallocated. So that's what the board approved back a while ago when we abandoned the bunk room. And that's what you believe that we're going to have as that unallocated from what the voters approved. So we can ditch this one and go right on to the incidental budget worksheet, because this is the one that's going to have the most moving parts in the next 30 to really 60 to 90 days. And in the little brief description that I gave to you is the proposed purchases that we're going to review at the June meeting with the board is going to be for the kitchen equipment, the TVs, the AV equipment, all of the furniture. And we're talking about tables in the meeting room for training. We're talking about in the office areas. We're talking about the display cases. So all types of furniture, the landscaping near NGAA, Maltese Cross, the flag poles, the memorial area, Plimo vent upgrades and repairs. And then if we have some extra funds and we might be able to do some upgrades to some of the hardware systems, just like when we moved in here, we did some upgrades to the systems that made sense that would get us out another 7 to 10 years. We might be able to look at the hardware to the door lock system and the server. So this incidental budget worksheet, the top portion, line items 1 through 14, really haven't changed. That's been the same right from December of 2023. Working with Sean, we already have some numbers that we can plug in on, like line item number 10. We know that the capitalized interest is going to be approximately 72,000. Is that what it was going to be, Sean? So we know that that 60 is really going to be 72. However, the legal fees are running right now maybe about $9,500. We're not going to have bond counsel. We're not going to have fiscal advisors, and the borrowing costs really, that's going to go away too. However, there's other things that have already happened that you see line items 17 down to 39 that weren't anticipated. So this will all shake out next month, that we will have a proposal for the board. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to get estimates on everything that I just described. And we'll be able to see whatever the anticipated surplus is on this incidental budget worksheet right now and how those other items will affect it. And just for an example, if you look at line items number 41 through 48. So I just talked a little bit about the brush clearing, the landscape, the flag poles. Well, you see there's already money in there. There's 10,000, there's 20,000 in there. Plimo vent upgrades, there's 25,000. So we're probably carrying in some of those areas a little bit more money than we're going to need. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to offset some of the surplus that we're going to realize in the incidentals to offset some of these other purchases. Now, not a lot of these purchases were like totally unanticipated. They were anticipated. We just, now we're at the point where we can start putting estimates and dollar amounts to all these items. So next month, this will look a little bit differently, and hopefully we're going to be able to accomplish what the committee wants, and the board then gets to make that final decision on that. Any questions with this right now?
makes sense.
Okay. So just want to talk a little bit, and this is where Ed, can possibly chime in a little bit. Just talk a little bit about the contingency because we started off with 121,121 in contingency, and right now we're tracking a total of 22% that would be remaining, so that would have remaining about 26,385. But I just want to draw your attention to a couple things, like the VCT tile removal. That was a $16,000 hit, and that's a lot for that, but that was unforeseen. And of course, that had to be done, and we negotiated that amount down. Okay, that was maybe about $23,000, which was negotiated down. So
That's not on this list. I don't, we never.
Yeah.
It's not on this list.
It's on the last spread, the
no,
page for the document.
Right.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, contingency.
-01.
My bad. So the last form right on GC-01, the VCT removal. And I'm not going to go through every line item. I just want to let the board know that any change order has been thought out very carefully and very hard, and we've actually negotiated just about every change order, where I might say something to Ed like, that doesn't seem kind of right, or Ed would say the same thing back, and then we would go back to the contractor and try and negotiate it, and in most instances, I think we've been successful. And with 22% remaining, that doesn't seem like a lot of money left. However, we are kind of like over that hump right now, where we sort of know where the choke points are. We know where the problem areas were, and I think we're past that point. And I'd like Ed just to speak a little bit of that too.
Yeah, and further reinforcing that fact, we like Bob mentioned, we had some hits. We had a little bit of a hit with the fire alarm control panel. We carried 15,000 for the bid tab initially to pay for that. And it was a bit of a miss on our part, but frankly, we designed all the new fire alarm system for the upstairs. Our consultants didn't replace the heads and the units and the wiring for the downstairs area. So we had it all upstairs and we do downstairs. So it was a $31,000 change that included the fire alarm panel, but we carried 15 grand. So the actual hit was about $15,000, which is unfortunate, but being an omission, we would have had to pay for it anyways. And we did negotiate with the electrician in so much that he basically provided all that equipment and installation at his cost. We didn't need to charge a huge markup on that. He left off the OHUD on that condition there, because he realized that we frankly made a little bit of a mistake and left it off the top. So those are the two big ones. The other thing that's important to note here is that while we also track the change order state, we're also tracking credits back to the project. And we're looking at a couple of fairly sizable ones that we're in the process of negotiating right now. We did the excavation for the sub-base material throughout all the parking lot areas right now. The excavator was of the mind that the sub-base material is in relatively good shape, and it's actually likely with a mild amount of compaction does not need to be completely replaced. We accounted for the complete replacement of all the excavator material, so all new stone, all new compaction. So there's likely a significant amount of savings to not have to replace all that sub-base material as well. And that's going to help offset some of the costs of the other things we do on the site, like we talked about the Memorial Garden and making concrete as opposed to the lawn areas and shifting some things around there. And I will say that by and large, all the contractors played really nice in the sandbox. A little bit with GC has been a little bit problematic on certain things, but the electrician and Joe, these guys on every single day, the electricians and the plumbers and the camp guys have been really great to work with, and they're doing a great job out there. The level of quality of the construction that they're putting together is very high, and they're really working well. I think that's something to go on. I'm happy to dig into anything on that CO list that you guys have any questions on. Beyond that, those are the two larger ones that we have.
No, I think I was gonna ask about the fire alarm accessory, like that's like a very large amount, and 31,990 is like a lot for, to be off by, I know you said we had 15,000 for the FACP, the command panel.
Yeah.
And none of the devices we're playing for, I'm just trying to figure out what,
We have all the new devices on the upper level, members room level.
Okay.
Because that's what we held the garage. So we all new wiring, because with the new fire alarm control panel, it's a voice enunciator, but also a strobe enunciator. So, or strobe unit.
Right.
So the ones downstairs currently do not have that capability. The new fire alarm control panel requires those devices to have that capability. So that it's a code, I think it's the NFPA, it was about 74 years ago. Yeah, they changed all the enunciators, they changed all the heads to have to be vocal enunciators as well as visual enunciators.
As I understood that all the new stuff that was going upstairs was gonna be addressable, but none of the downstairs stuff that we had thought we could just reuse was addressable.
It was not. Yeah,
So that
so
was
that needs to be
the addressable portion of that.
so it will be adjustable now.
It will be.
Full set is gonna be addressable, yeah.
All the devices in the building throughout will all be, and the, and off the side of the sprinkler system, which is also almost all completely installed as well. Apparatus bays upstairs, and that was done in the offices. Condor is a side shoot from the jagger, something mechanical. They've been doing a really good job working out there, installed very little, interface with the trucks, they work great on the equipment, and, it's almost complete at this point. If you drop that capability.
If they got that on the second floor, and then they're in the midst right now, going downstairs to the engine bays. And I would anticipate before the end of the week, they'll be there, so they'll only have the head of the main water comes in, they'll have all that stuff, but that all needs to get put in place.
And the other thing that I spoke to the chairman about, that we're gonna, it's pretty clear now that the company understands what their obligations are gonna be. I'm working with Joe closely on some of the FF&E, that they know that the company's gonna be responsible to purchase. Just like when DeFriesel came in here, they were responsible for certain things. So we're working closely with Joe and the department so that they know going into it before a purchase is made, that they're responsible for certain items. And I think we're very clear on that.
I think so.
Yeah. So there won't be any surprises. Everything's up front. They know what their obligations are and what the district can and can't pay for. So I think we have a good game plan. It started off slow. It's picking up well now. Everybody seems to be working well together. A lot of stuff is going on, a lot of moving parts, but we're not going to make that June deadline.
I
Okay.
was about to ask.
We're probably looking more toward the end of August. We're figuring really a final completion around the end of August, because there's so much still that has yet to be done.
It's important for Mark and you guys for your meetings, and, I know we get the storage pods and stuff like that too. So.
I had mentioned one potential add-on to you.
Yes, and I'll-
Do I bring that up here?
No, I'm gonna vet that out with Joe.
Okay,
So
fine.
we'll definitely incorporate that in.
I think the idea is like, but for next month's meeting, they'll have a better idea of financially where we are as far as what monies we have. I know there's quite a list of, hey, we'd like to have this, we'd like to see that, and I know they're still negotiating furniture. But I think the goal is get all these ideas in, get a rough idea what they're gonna cost, and then get laid out for us in June, and then kind of like, either we have enough, or we don't have enough. If we don't have enough, then it's prioritizing what we can spend on. I think that's the game plan, at least.
It is, and I just felt this was a perfect
No, it's good to have
point
an
to
update.
really try and break it down and explain it, have Ed here in case you had any questions. I didn't want to drag him out, but I think it's important.
Good breakdown, thank you.
Everything, as always, it's always well organized and can make it very easy for us, so.
Well, the three of us have been working really close together, so.
Mr. Chairman, what Bob was saying, I made it very clear, and Mark has been there, and Chief has been there at our meetings. What we need to pay for, I put it right out there, so everyone sees the whole envelope that we need to take responsibility for. The Memorial Garden, we came up, and that was our choice to do that a few years ago. We didn't do it because this other move was happening.
Right.
So we moved it, and we know that's our responsibility, as of a few other things that me and Bob talk every day, one thing or another, and just so that the district knows, we understand our responsibilities.
No, again, the work to be, for the board's purposes at least, I've been to, a few of the meetings, just the working to are putting in, just even keeping the developers honest. Sometimes I wonder who's the construction manager. No offense, Ed, but there's, Dara needs a raise too, she said. But, it's just, just staying on top of them, and, I've seen some of the challenges with, especially the GC, getting them to kind of move, it seems a lot of stuff went back to them, but it's good to see that finally actually moving. We're actually making progress now, so that's a good thing.
Thank you, Brian. Thank the board and fire commissioner for backing us up in this, endeavor, so.
You guys did all the work, we just kind of say hi once a month. Do they have any questions for Bob or Ed or anything? All right, again, thank you. You're welcome to stay if you want.
Hey, for the record though, having Joe and Bob working on a regular basis on this, you guys see how smoothly things are going out there, but Joe's developed an incredible relationship with guys on site. They trust them, and they go over when they need stuff, and he's there all the time. They really appreciate it. Probably want things to really back on track with you guys, so keep that there.
Sharing it.
And on that, go ahead, Dan.
Enjoy. All right, moving on, Department President's report, President Steer.
We got, two firefighter applications that were submitted to the district. One is Alan French, relative to Commissioner French's. He, plans to be a firefighter more on an external basis. And then the second one is James Schneider. He plans to be a interior firefighter. So you have his paperwork for your regular approval. On April 13th, we held our Recruit New York open house there at the firehouse. We had excellent news media attention. And I think we had 2 news channels and Time Union was here as well, doing reports. And they actually had a ball. We were doing activities that we put together. During the day, we had 4 applications handed in from visitors. Of the 4, one was referred to Maplewood Fire Department in Colony because he lives on the other side of the river. Maplewood is real close to his house. Another one was stable until fall time because of the Hudson Valley Community College student. And he's going to be going home to Syracuse for the summer. So we said, well, just hold on your application and things work out, come back, we'll see you in the fall. So, and then the other 2 were Alan and Jalen. Just a note that I submitted in my report to you guys is that, we, out of all the applicants that we had that day, and most people that stopped by, they were not town residents. To me, that it's kind of significant, that we're not seeing the overwhelming number of applications come into the department that are from the town of North Greenbush. Obviously, if there are folks that come here and are more in the skilled response area, then we're pushing them over to their agencies, and they've got to do the same for us. But I think that it would be important to go on the record with the fire district, maybe making note of that. And that, while we gratefully accept anybody to be a member here that's within reasonable response area outside the town, I think our recruitment efforts really need to be focused a little bit more within the community, because those are the people that should be serving more than anybody really that's who formed the fire department and wanted the fire department is the community members themselves. And so as we look forward, moving on in future planning for the fire department, I think it would be very wise to document our results each year. And that way, when the time comes, and hopefully it's quite some time out, when the time comes that we have to transfer into more of a paid service, potentially, there's going to be the need to show justification for that. And part of that, a big portion of that is what the recruitment efforts were over the past years. So I think from this point moving forward, we're going to be reporting to you guys, giving you information so that you can put that in your back pocket. And then when the day comes, be able to pull that out and say, well, here's the results over this 5 to 10 years of volunteers that came forward within the community, we only had this many, or maybe it's changed and things that people will be coming in here. I just think it really needs to be on the record and duly noted for future reference. We had a spring work detail here at the firehouse on the 25th. Bob Durivage coordinated a whole list of things to be done, painting, fixing ceiling tiles. We opened up the pavilion. There was a whole list of things that were done, and we had a good turnout for that. Also, I was hoping to have our composite photo to show tonight, but the photographer got back to me late last week and said he wasn't pleased with the framing that was done on it, so he's having the framing redone on it, so I won't receive it probably for another week or two. Furthermore, I did receive the Tunnel for Towers proposal that was received by the district. I'm going to review that with our executive committee and just see if that's something that we're interested in. Also, we are planning our Memorial Day events in town here for the parade and for the wreath-laying ceremonies. I do want to make note of a cardiac arrest call that was handled in our town here, which our department responded to with North Greenbush Ambulance, and resulted in a reversal. And so with that, there were one of our members responded from his house, but a former member who was staying at his house also responded on foot because the patient was right across the street from them. And they both performed CPR on the patient before the ambulance got there. And as the police department arrived, so he did the distributor. So with that, Kim Lashman, and her last name is Robertson. She's a school nurse up at the North Colony School District. And so I thought it was incumbent upon the department to write a letter informing the school of the event. So I did that. I can submit a copy to the district if needed, but both Shane, chief, and I signed it, and that went to her principal, and it went to the school superintendent, which is Kathleen Steels, and it was very well received. So they're going to be honoring her at the June. I think it's at the June school district meeting, so that's pretty cool. For saving the life. That was pretty cool.
It's nice that you took the time to email her employer.
Yeah, she works at my wife's school too, and so Beth heard that the letter was received by the principal and the superintendent, and it was just like all around the whole district. Wow, so it was really special for him. So that was.
Do you mind passing the letter around? It'd be nice to see.
Oh, sure. And lastly, I have something on recruitment, but I'm going to save that for the recruitment portion, if that's all right. Commissioner French asked me to speak on it. I attended an event over in Colony, which I think would benefit Rensselaer County as well. If it's all right, I'll speak under.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. That's awesome to hear about Kim and.
Yeah.
I was with my son today, and he got a phone call or a text from Dr. Hayashi about that save. And I guess Dr. Hayashi is pretty pumped up about it, wants to see something happen at a county level, some kind of recognition for people involved.
The gentleman is home. He got home a few days ago.
Walked out of the hospital a week later.
He's doing good. So.
I believe we had a crew there too, correct? First response was there. Bob, you're on this.
No, that was the other one.
Oh, that was the other one.
I'll bring those up.
Oh, sorry, chief, didn't mean to steal your thunder. This other membership, President Mason.
I don't have too much. We have no new member applications for this month. You should have received the OneDrive letter for your approval, the review. You can get that out. And the last thing Jeff mentioned too, we also received a letter for the Funnel to Tower information, and we're going to be working on that. It sounds like it would be a really beneficial thing to everybody around, but it looks like there's going to be a hefty expense with it. I think we need to really review what we as a you know whether or not, you know, approve what we're gonna do if we do it.
But I know the letters and correspondence, I know will come up, when we get down to correspondence there. Approval of prior month's minutes,
Mr. Chairman,
oh, sorry,
their fund drive letter is in there.
yeah,
It's in
I
Dropbox.
guess we have to act on, that. It's in Dropbox. Looks okay, to me.
Just changed.
It's a great date. No questions, I guess. Still motion.
Looks great. I'll make a motion in a second. Prove it.
Motion by Dan, second by Chris, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, sir.
Good, thank you.
Thanks for the catch, Bob. Approval of prior month's minutes. We have a chance to look them over, any concerns, I didn't see. Really anything here. Motion approved by Rich. Second by Chris, all in favor? Aye. Aye, awesome. Treasurer's report. Sean.
Rex, for you to review and sign off on, I'll have a copy of the treasurer's report. Money market account, I reconcile balance of $1,780,567.05, earning $4,291.52 worth of interest for the month of April. The capital projects account had a balance of $2,107,551.45, earning $5,090.90 of interest. Checking accounts reconciled balance $46,244.32, earning $165.09 worth of interest for the month. The bank recs, each one of the particular accounts, along with check listing for the check register for the checking account, it's attached. Supporting documentation.
That's right. Just thinking, like, I know we talked about it earlier on, like. I don't know, like, could we get like idea like in June-ish, but kind of where we are with budget line? I mean, I know it's not gonna be 100%, because I know there's lag in there, just kind of get an idea where. If any lines are over, absolutely stuff. I appreciate that, sir. No problem. Resolution for the president's report. Resolution. It's all. Sorry, it's just roll call. Roll call.
Chris,
All right.
Rich, Brian,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye. Get back into this. Motion carries. Approval of current month's invoices. I have the pleasure going through this month, nothing like earth shattering. We do see a lot of meeting stuff on here, but we're kind of anticipating that.
Make a motion to pay the bill.
Rich,
As proposed.
seconded by Chris, roll call.
Chris, Rich, Brian,
Aye.
Dan.
Aye. Motion carries. Bills are paid. Correspondence received. There's quite a bit there in Dropbox.
Received from Green County Commercial Bank the month end collateral statement for the month ending 3/29/24 and 4/30/24. Received a letter from a Stacy Way resident regarding an EMS call. The district did not respond to it. I TOT'd it to the ambulance, and the chief acknowledged that he received it. Received a check from Rich French for a Verizon phone charge. We received the letter regarding the tunnel to towers organization. That was also TOT to both departments, DFD and WFD. Received the FASNY delegate information for the 2024 convention. Received a check from DFD for the quarterly IT services. We received the Association of Fire Districts of New York, the Fire District Affairs brochure for April and May. And we also received a check from Dan Wilson Jr. for Verizon phone charge.
And question to Stacy Wayler, that's just good. Is that something you think we have to, or should we just kind of acknowledge so we don't get like the bad PR, just the ambulance gonna take care of that? In a response, basically, it was, if you read the letter, yeah, it's EMS called in the middle of the night, it was sent to us, but they had issues with the ambulance.
I guess just looking at this, I kind of get the one sentence here that EMS crew who responded from the DeFreeseville Fire Department appeared to be unwilling to render aid. If we haven't already, could somebody just reach out to her and just say, we've turned this over to the ambulance, we were not dispatched to the call?
There was no phone number. There's no way to,
We don't have the,
right, I tried to
So we mail
find
a
it.
letter?
Yeah, we could. I mean, that's why I
I
put
just
it
think
in
we
there.
should acknowledge, you don't want her left thinking,
that the fire department down the street didn't do something.
and we may have turned it over to the ambulance. I'm not questioning whether they follow up or don't, but I just think we should at least acknowledge that, you know, we received your letter, you know, we were not dispatched to the call. We've turned it over to the North Greenbush ambulance.
I mean, I could type up something if you want for you guys to. If you want to come from us, we just want to cheat, but I have no problem typing up something.
What else did they go?
Stacy Way,
It was mailed to the fire department.
Okay, yeah, okay, fine. The luggage more than 3 sentences, it's too long.
oh yeah, it's just, we. Someone lines of, thank you for reaching out, however.
Yeah,
We received yours,
We received your letter.
this department did not,
We forward it to the proper agency
thank you for your
for response. No ball as well.
love, Brian.
Love
Terry,
Terry.
you know, neighbors talking,
Well, no, just
yeah.
that counter drive letter shows up or,
For the cost of the staff, yeah. would be.
And then response, unless there's any questions for anything else received, it's all for towers thing. I mean, it's a good project. I've read the letter, I've been down all kind of. I mean, I know it's gonna be a community wide, but they're talking about $20,000. Bring this thing up here, David Park.
But just quick back to the letter, I'm just looking at it a little more closely. She has previously mailed to North Greenbush Ambulance Service, so she probably didn't get a reply there.
Okay.
She tried sending it to us, I think we should
If
definitely.
you look at where she previously
Yeah,
mailed,
the billing.
Right, it's the billing agency.
Yeah.
Right, but I just think she's trying to get our attention now,
Priority bill.
because she thinks we're at least there, and we weren't.
Yeah, just want to get our name out of
Yeah.
it, so to speak. We had nothing to do with that.
What do you think, Carol?
Yeah, I'll take care of that. Correspondence sent.
Yep, so on sent, there was just one document, both departments responded, to the district, and Brian, took care of sending in the annual report for the fire department demographics. This is that new form that they came up with the stipend. So that was sent in, and put that on the tickler so that we know that every year that's gotta be sent in.
And it keeps our members eligible for reimbursement for the classes, those specific classes that they take, get reimbursed by the state. Old business. Nothing in Dropbox. New business. Nothing in Dropbox, perfect. All right, DFT chief report, Chief Clued.
You got the full information, but very few purchases. We'll hold that line for a little while. As of right now, we're looking to buy one new set of gear. I think that goes back to the last, whatever, year, the last 6 months of last year, beginning of this year, just going back and cleaning the roster out. People that don't show up, people that aren't here, we pull them off the roster and basically taking their gear and made them get an opportunity to go supporting or so. There was a lot of that when you mentioned, but we've taken care of that in the last year or so. Apparatus wise, 9/7. We need to get the pump test done on that. It was out for the service, we need to get the pump test. Also, we had a power steering leak, a pretty serious power steering leak on it. Bulldog came over and repaired that for free for us. It's actually like a 1 inch line, which we don't know how it got loosened up, but they came over and repaired that at the station for free. 9-6 had its PM pump service done, a few small online repairs. Brush 9 had its PM service. I think that's it for apparatus. Rescue 9 I jumped over that one. So we've had an ongoing issue with the brakes for, I don't know, 2 years now. So we put a lot of money into that truck over the last few years trying to get that fixed. We think we have it fixed this time. We put new slack adjusters on it. It's a slack adjuster for backing off. Basically, you could pull the parking brake on it and it still wouldn't fix it. So what was happening was the slack adjuster for backing off of it. Also, when we brought over the Bulldog, whatever vendor put the last shoes on it, they were mismatched shoes. So it was kind of like cambering out. They weren't touching your drum. So we got that taken care of. Jeff brought those back to the other vendor. We were trying to get it to it, but. I know Jeff already mentioned it, but we had 2 reversals this month. First one, like Jeff was talking about, ended very, very low. The second one, we made a reversal on scene, everything. He did not make it. So he lasted a few days in the hospital and passed. But it's pretty rare in a month. Like I said, I think it was looking at 1 week period. We had 2 reversals. So just goes, just great working with the fire department, the sheriffs and the PD. I know on the one up in Heritage Hills, we had members go there to see. I mean, the residents in the town have pretty good service. Between the PD, the ambulance, and the fire department. So just a shout out. They get pretty good service. Go to Berlin, go to Post and Kill, you can't even get in there. So I'm trying for that last time. Just in the last 2-3 months, we've recruited 6 interior firefighters. We're trying to get those through their IFO. It's just a shout out to the membership. We have a committee that works on it. We're at fire scenes recruiting people stopping the station. Doesn't matter, we're walking down the street, we're seeing the sorts. Anybody asks, they see my car, hey, you want to join? Greg was recruiting people at a structure fire. Hey, look it's working, whatever we're doing. I think it's a good collaboration between the civil side and the operations side of it and the whole membership. But whatever we're doing, we got to keep doing it. We're seeing some good results. On that, it's a huge undertaking to get these members trained. I mentioned it at the company meeting, but we've got 4 members that basically take that all on. Assistant Chief Sheehan, Lieutenant Hogan, Firefighter Fury, and Firefighter Menzie. And it's a huge undertaking. They are here 3-4 days a week to try to get these guys on board. Guys and girls, actually. So it's a shout out to them. Talking about the combination IFO-BFO class the county's holding. It's a great idea, but we're volunteers, and the majority of the classes are held 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon during the day. So I don't quite get where they're going with it. I don't know who controls that. But if you look at the schedule, it's a great idea to combine those. But if you look at the schedule, a majority of them are during the daytime, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
The concept behind the daytime IFO-BFOs is that there's a lot of IFO students that are in high school
Yeah.
that have a problem doing the weeknight courses during the school year. And the whole idea is, okay, we'll grab the high school kids during the summer.
We've got 2 that are going to be able to do it.
And
The other
it just
4,
doesn't- yeah,
we don't know.
it doesn't service everybody.
Yeah,
Does not
I mean-
service everybody.
So we're trying to figure that out, but yeah, I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me, but it is what it is. We'll do our best to try to get into. I know there's a default class supposed to start in fall. So that's
Boot camp format?
But kind of like a boot camp, or it's boot camp plus some online stuff.
2 weeks or is it more?
I don't remember, I can't remember, I looked at the schedule, I can't remember what it was.
it's a couple weeks. It's a couple days a month for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
That's tough.
we had a couple couple members take over the county 2 years ago, and they took leave of absence from work, which I don't expect anybody to do that.
Yeah, that's,
So, it's kind of mind boggling, but we'll manage to get through it. Box alarms, I know one still updated the box alarms like a couple months ago. We just sent out our updated box alarms. One of the notable things is, Weinstein and Fisher are going back 24/7, mutually other than the kind of BS calls. Service calls, traffic control, EMS. So we're reinstituting that with, the chiefs had a district meeting, we talked about it, and then Adam and I worked together to try to make that work, so. I think that is it. That's all I have.
I haven't seen like the county train schedule in a few years. Are they all, how many classes do you think they even offer for before I through the course of the year?
Last year, they were pretty aggressive, but this year it does not seem, I think they're counting on this. The Zypho combination, they really like cover a bunch of it, but I think the next default class is in the fall.
You only had one instructor that stepped up that would take lead on BFO. So they were kind of limited as to what he could do.
So yeah, I mean, we want to recruit. The problem is trying to get everybody trained.
Well, I think that, I think that's something we're going to have to talk about going down the road is that as we're the authority having jurisdiction with these people. And if we can demonstrate that they have completed the JPRs and they are competent in the knowledge, then we can say they can run. Now it's going to require, we change our procedures a little bit and maybe change, the fire companies may have to change their constitutions and bylaws. But if our training committees can look at these people and say that these people are truly qualified to be interior or exterior firefighters, because based on their completed JPRs, it's not just like a whimsical thing. Then we can put them in riding status and operating status. The fact that they can, and more departments are doing this because they can't get people in class.
I know, and I don't want to speak for Lions, because I know a few years ago, we started doing JPRs over here, like new people came in, you get signed off by 2 officers. I know they started doing it over here. I don't think they did that in Lions still.
We beefed up our training over the last couple of years. It's pretty aggressive, thorough training. Just because we weren't getting the training time-wise. So,
Especially over, I know that was a big issue.
When you got instructors that none of them will take the lead on these courses, and that became an issue.
yeah, I'm not speaking for Adam. He can speak. I mean, that does before. Yeah, it's an issue.
Good job in the crews and, your members who, respond to these calls.
Yeah, it's everything.
No, I mean, the training is part of it. It's all good things. It's good to hear the good things. Did you say you had purchases or nothing really this month?
No,
Just a
we
small-
just had a couple
little things that were-
program. There was nothing.
Yeah. All right, Chief Littlefield, if you're with us, I know you're in Pittstown and the connection may not be the best.
All right, I climbed the power pole and I got aluminum foil in my head, so we should be okay.
As long as it doesn't lightning.
I'm looking up. We're good. Okay, so using JPRs for the last 8 years, just to answer that question.
All right, no,
So
thank you.
we should be good on that one. Let's discuss recent events. Wynantskill side had a pretty significant traffic accident the other day out on 66 behind Fane's gravel pit. I'm sure the commissioners, you've all seen pictures and heard stories. But we had minimal experienced crews, with minimal equipment. We got both patients out of the vehicles in record time. They were under ALS care the entire time, and they were both ground transported and are expected to recover. We did request assistance from our friends in Postenkill just due to geography, and they were able to come in and help us. It was a significant hazmat issue because it was a fertilizing contractor vehicle, but luckily most of it seemed to be water, and the big mess came from the DEF tank. So we did discuss with the representatives from that company, possibly replacing or reimbursing us for our supplies. And I got that information to Mr. Durivage so he can seek that as he does so well. But I would like to say the district came out swinging, and we were able to perform very well. Very impressed with the crews. Okay, so Friday night, I expect all 5 of you, including Mr. Durivage and Mr. Kerwin, to be at the Wine and Skill Awards dinner. It's going to be 6 p.m. start down at Brown's Revolution Hall. We're going to discuss 2023, and we're also going to award our membership for their accomplishments in 2023. So hope to see everyone there, and we should have a good time. That being said, Memorial Day parade's coming up. I've been in talks with several of the organizations responsible. Past Chief Gummer is going to be the Grand Marshal for the parade this year. So that being said, I offered him a brand new C8 Corvette or the Gray Ghost, and he went with the Gray Ghost. So the Gray Ghost will be the Grand Marshal's vehicle, and then the rest of the district membership will be marching on parade. So hope to see everyone there. Should be a good time. Let's see. Readiness drill. So something new for us that we tried out, kind of comes from my Army days. We did a readiness drill. And the goal of the readiness drill was to catch up on a lot of the loose ends, right? So we discussed LMS, we discussed VFISU, we discussed I am responding, Knox box pins. We also went through the Alpine system and did a lot of the updates for the member information, including emergency contacts and beneficiaries. And also the VFIS beneficiary forms. With that to say, only one person put me down as a beneficiary, but I'll work harder on that for next time. But we got 32 members, went through the process. It took us about 2 hours. And now all 32 of those members are pretty much online with training. So they can do the VFISU, they can get on LMS, and kind of brings them into 2024 swinging. So we do still have some Outlanders where we got to bring them in, and we've been picking them off as best we can. But it was a really awesome event. We had a great participation, and it just kept moving. So it was good times. I would like to thank the assistant chiefs. I would like to thank the vice president. I would like to thank the membership secretary and also the lieutenant for helping out with the stations. If it wasn't for them and their expertise on the topics, it wouldn't have been able to work. So that was a good thing. EMTs. Wine and Skill has 3 new EMTs. Past Chief McMahon, firefighter Valerie McMahon, and firefighter Alex Kaplan. They've passed all the requirements. They're just awaiting their certificates to come in the mail. We also have firefighter Morrissey and firefighter Hagler. They had a couple issues come up personally, but they are scheduled to take their state exam. And once they pass that, we should be good to go and have 5 new EMTs on the Wine and Skill side. Let's see. All right, so I submitted the gear purchase list to Mr. Durivage for 2024. We're also working on restock of EMS supplies for 2024. I'd like to thank DeFreedsville for helping out. Some of their extra stuff is going to fill that order, so it keeps the district thrifty. All right, so the ugly stuff. Those of you know, Rescue 4.2 is not back yet. The issue with Rescue 4.2 is part of Bulldog's process. They found a lot of issues with the power steering system. As you know, power steering and the steering in general is not really something you can band-aid and be safe to go down the road. It was a state inspectable item that was definitely a red flag. So currently we are waiting on one part in order to get that system put back together. Once that system is put back together, the service work for Rescue 4.2 is complete other than the pump test. The pump test equipment is still kind of in the mothballs. So we have a plan of action to get that taken care of. Good news is we got a call from Detroit that the mysterious unobtainium EGR valve is actually in stock now. So once Rescue 4.2 finishes its time at Bulldog, it's going to make a little short trip over to Detroit, get that new part installed, and that will suffice the check engine light that seems to appear every few days. Once Rescue 42 comes back, Truck 42 has its time in the sun at Bulldog coming up in about a week. As I said before, Sean, if you're listening, buckle up, buddy. It's going to be ugly. But I will say Bulldog has been very good with getting the write-up done for the apparatus, getting it to me in a timely fashion. I know Captain Steer, he's had a similar experience with them. Going through the items and just seeing what the write-up is, what needs to be addressed, what can be taken care of, what connects to what. It's been a very good experience, and I do appreciate their work so far. Let's see. And that being said, to finish up services, Squad 42 will need a couple of things taken care of with the inspection, and Utility 42 will need its inspection and the regular oil change. That's about it. Chief's vehicles are all in tip-top shape. I do have some minor purchases. I think you all got to see those. Nothing really significant, just cleaning up some things. And hope to see everyone Friday night, and then see you later on at the end of the month on Monday.
Excellent. Congratulations to your new EMTs, and thank you, to them for, the time, they put in to attain that status. And a good job to the crew there, and you're calling 66. Any questions for Chief Littlefield? Okay. Thank you, and good luck out in Pittstown. Apparatus and equipment commissioners, keep us not here, so Rich.
Not a lot to, besides what the chiefs already reported on railroad maintenance. We did hold a Truck 42 committee meeting where we again continued to work on with the direction we're going with the replacement for Truck 42. It was actually a real good meeting. 68 members were there. 2 were excused, 1 for a family commitment, the other for was out of town for work. We've identified 6 manufacturers that we'd like to take a look and see what they've got for rigs that might meet the configuration we're talking about. The committee would like to send an email to those 6 manufacturers and tell them that we're starting to look, and we'd like to have them send us an information packet of anything that they've got. We'd also like them to identify anything that they've got within the general configuration that we're looking for, which would be in the 100-foot range, mid-mount tower, wet. Is about all we've really said, and maybe they can identify some of them for us so that we can possibly go out and take a look at them. One of the challenges is when you go look at apparatus, they always want to go with you so they can monitor what's said and what we hear and what we take in, where we'd like to kind of do it on our own. So it's kind of achieving that balance. But we've identified the 6 manufacturers that we think, or anybody that makes apparatus or makes aerial apparatuses. Spartan LDI, which is sold by Marion, KMA, which is sold by Bulldog, Rosenbauer by Garrison, Pierce by Firematic, Sutton by Vandermolen, Seagrave by Salt City Fire Equipment, and E1 by Premier. So I told the committee that I would run by the board authorization to send out an email like that. I want to make sure the boards, I don't think we're moving too fast or in the wrong direction before we send it out. So I'll leave that for a finished report. We talked about their service providers being local and long distance away, and that's one of the challenges with Seagrave. It appears their nearest service is Putnam County, which is quite a run if something needs to be done. I'm sure they probably got mobile service. There's also some things going on with Seagrave in the Capital District with another fire department, the Gordon one, that's experiencing some real challenges right now because they came back with an invoice for an extra somewhere around $300,000 of here these are additional costs because we underbid it because we didn't know the prices were going to go for our materials like they did, and so that's a problem. So we're going to, we'd like to do this letter. We even, I want to tell you, I'm pretty impressed with some of the ideas that are coming up because I didn't bring these ideas up with the committee, other committee members did, but we even want to discuss and look further at the possibility of a lease turn-in. Some of these places are leasing apparatus for 4, 5, 6 years, and then turning it in. What does this leased apparatus look like when it comes back? How well is it serviced or cycled when it comes back, and is there any significant savings to be achieved with it? And we talked about the fact that the original truck 4.2 was a rollover. And it lasted the district, I think 15, 17 years with no, very little problem. Because it was thoroughly gone through when it came, after the accident.
Almost like a certified pre-owned.
Yeah, we should certify pre, so we want to look at that option. And then we even discussed the possibilities, we invested so much money over the last 2 years in truck 4.2's ladder assembly. What would it cost to jack it up and put it on somebody else's body? Would there be any significant savings? I mean, the steel ladder's fine. It's hydraulics have all been redone. Anything that would be under the turntable would be redone when you mount it on a new one. So we want to investigate that a little more and see if that's a feasibility thing. The challenge with that one that we saw would be, that's gonna take time. What do you do for the 8 or 9, 10 months that it takes to do that? Do you pick up a used one somewhere just to hold you over and then sell this as it's done? I mean, we're looking at options. So at this point with the committee, the one thing we're looking for approval on is to send that email out. The other thing is that we don't need approval for it, but we don't plan on meeting in June. We are planning our next meeting for July 25. In June, we're going to see how many members we can try and get out to state chiefs and kick some tires and talk to some vendors and just see what's out there and see what's going on. I know I won't be in town, but others are going to try and get out there. So that's where we are with that. So I need approval to send the third email together and send it out. Go ahead and do it. Did we see an objection?
I mean, you're not committing to.
Yeah, we're not committing to anything.
Right, I mean, I think
I
the
think-
needs to be able to.
I think we just want to make sure that the commissioners didn't feel that we were steamrolling or moving full speed ahead too fast. And
No, I don't think that's full speed. I mean, I think it's.
the target is still to be at a point with a specification by this time next year that we will have probably done an RFP by now or been ready to go with an RFP, and we will have gone and sent members out to the FDIC to actually look at apparatus and kick tires and really spend some time digging into what's out there for us.
Kristen, any thoughts, or are we limiting ourselves to 6 vendors? Are there other vendors we're missing?
We couldn't think of any. We
Okay,
Crown's out of business now. They were vended out west. When you look at aerials, the number of vendors drops off significantly. Okay.
I don't see any harm in reaching out.
Okay, cool.
Like finding, honestly, when you look at the lead times, you're talking 20 grand for the ladder truck, we're almost happy at 25 already.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Phil, when I talked to him about, make the board aware of this. We keep hearing that, oh, they're buying aerial ladders, it's gonna cost us, $2.6 million, and Sean's like, purchase stuff.
Yeah, 225.
Pardon?
225.
225, all right, yeah, but still, and then we saw the thing in the paper that, Troy got one for essentially what we're looking for, what we're talking about, for 1.4, 1.6, whatever it was. And the only thing that we're really talking about that they didn't have on theirs was roll-up doors. I talked to Phil about it. There's some things that we want the board to be aware of. One, they specified that truck 3 years ago. So those are 3-year-old prices. They anticipate, Phil said that for planning purposes, plan on apparatus costs across the board, doesn't matter what vendor, are probably gonna be 15% increases over the next 3 years. Additionally, if we get out past December 25 with a delivery, add 50 grand, minimum 50 grand at this point, for what the new motor configurations are gonna be to meet the new engine configurations are gonna be to meet the new EPA requirements. And because they gotta go to a bigger motor to meet the EPA requirements, all right, then that also requires the bigger transmission. So that's another 50 grand right off the top of it, so, and that one of the discussions we had at the committee meeting was, are we better off, are we at a point where by maybe at the end of the year or early next year, we could go out and buy a Spartan cab chassis, you know, for an aerial to twin axle smart cab and chassis, and then figure out who we were gonna have build on it. You know, I mean, that was one of the things, one of the weird ideas we had is to how we can save some money and move forward with this. So, we're keep working on it.
Excellent. Any questions for each of us? Building grounds, Chris, myself,
Just Joseph, you're doing a great job. Keep it up, like.
I didn't get into the grant yet.
I'll get the rest fixed here.
and, you know, to the members who, you know, did the work detail, thank you, and, you know, the work detailed by the members tend to save the district a bunch of money there, and,
I got a thought on that, and it's a thought that came from this conversation that I had with Jeff. I don't know if you didn't want to bring it up, or I'll bring it up. We have members in both sides of town that spend a significant amount of time coming down for work details to maintain our stations, to do things that we would normally have to pay somebody to come down and do. It's not firematics, it's not training, it's not, you know, it's not the kind of stuff that we recruit members to do. They come down, they paint, they were scrubbing mold off a wall, they were taking down ceiling tiles and fixing things, they were, you know, and I see the same thing over across town too. So I know those kinds of projects happen there. I would think that, you know, I know the chiefs are very comfortable when something happens with the apparatus or there's a big call, the chiefs are comfortable, they know when they can want more some food. You know, more some food, some beverage for people doing it. I'd like, you know, the presidents, well, probably something we might have to pre-approve, but I'd like the presidents to have that leeway too, to, you know, I mean, we're not paying the contractor to come down and paint, we're not paying a contractor to come down and replace ceiling tiles, which we'd be paying top dollar for. At least be able to order up some pizzas, some wings, a couple bottles of soda or something, and say thank you to the people that are doing these things on both sides of town. So I don't know how we go about doing that, but I certainly think that it's worth it for us.
yeah, I mean,
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think we would just have to modify the policy, or the president does it, he just does it under the chief, because I think right now, the way the policy written, it's under the chief, so he just makes a call to the chief and you.
Well, I think with this conversation, we send the messages to the presidents that, hey, talk to your chiefs, we're more than willing to look at those costs and say, hey, this is good for us.
I mean, just avoid having to do a policy change and everything.
True.
You know.
True.
no, it's a good idea. I don't see any issue with that. And in the Bob's report there, that one, the same thing where it had the all the building stuff. There's like 11 different items for facilities. I don't know, maybe some of them, I'm not gonna read all 11 off, but see quite a bit of work was done over here. And also wine skill, we talked, you know, the roof leak and stuff for wine skill, and a whole bunch of stuff on here. It was covered on facilities in the report there. A lot of details. Thank you, Bob, for putting all that together, the report. District personnel, Dan. Excellent. Financial insurance audit, Dan. Excellent.
Bob or Sean, I have anything I.
Long range planning, not development, nothing. Although we probably want to maybe have a meeting with the committee, maybe September, make sure our plan is still kind of in line, so to speak. But beyond that, nothing. Policies, procedures, and membership. We do have two new applications that were for two priest members that were sent around. Are there any questions on them or concerns? Nope. Motion by Chris. Second by Rich. In favor? Aye. Thank you, sir. I'll sign them after the meeting. LoSAP. I have nothing. Chiefs, presidents, anything? Excellent. Moving along. Getting nervous. Business operations technology, Dan.
And this I might be too late, I just thought of it. So we've had a couple folks get new phones, Rich being one of them, and we pay for the insurance. I would recommend that you do the AppleCare if you haven't done that already, rather than the district plan. It's too late. Did you already do it?
I don't know.
We did not sign them up for the district insurance, so they can still do Apple Care.
We pay for the insurance for the phones. But the Apple Care is less expensive if you buy it 2 years ahead of time. And it's better coverage.
Talk to me afterwards, tell me what I gotta
Yeah,
do.
so anyway, and who was the other one that just?
Dan Wilson
Dan
Jr.
said it.
And I gotta talk to you, about the phone too, about for when I go away, so I have service. We'll talk after,
It's a savings to the district and it's better. That's it.
On district technology and Bob's report, they're very buried in it, so everybody's aware, the 6 iPads came in. I was just about to say that, again, that's a big step, that's a big step. So we had a call the other day where, somebody less experienced using an iPad was sitting in the officer's seat, and I was like, well, we got an iPad, this thing, we know where the hydrants are, and he says, we got an iPad, I just can't figure out how to work it, so, but, we were questioning where the closest hydrant was, because we have been told to pull up to the hydrant and get ready. Because it was a working fire, yeah, and we just weren't sure which hydrant were.
All right, development plan review. Not a lot going on. I mean, most of the projects slowly starting to move through the town. Kevin brought up the traffic issues at the traffic circle. The 50 Twin Homes by Twin Town Little League, that's probably the biggest one. That's causing some people a lot of angst. Already adding to a bad traffic situation. There was Dr. Marshall's office over right there in the corner. There's a delay in that. That's supposed to become a restaurant. We did express some concerns about where they're going to go these parking spaces from, but a thing cropped up at the meeting where apparently the property line goes through the building. So they're trying to figure out there, we got a variance, that project's on hold. Parking there should be popping up at some point, but otherwise it was pretty uneventful night at the planning board. Firematic operations, I think we have a couple things here, but
Here are a couple things. I sent last month, we got approval for Brian to submit the letter that I prepared regarding, the OSHA proposal, but I asked that we hold off on it because of, it's a constantly changing environment. We're getting new information every day on it. So based on a couple webinars and phone calls that I participated in from last month till now, I made some very minor changes to what was proposed last month. And at this point, I'd say let's go with it, because there's probably gonna be changes that will change what we wrote, but at some point, it's time to fish or cut bait. So the final cutoff date to submit will be June 21, but I'm gonna be out of town for much of that time between now and then. So let's just go with it, my recommendation. Brian's got it. The good news is we were on a webinar the other day with 2 folks from OSHA, and the consensus of some of the leadership that I spoke to, and we were on another call where we discussed from a leadership perspective of where it was going afterwards. It appears that they're backpedaling a little bit. And they're saying that all those IBR incorporated by reference standards, well, they're not completely incorporated. They're incorporated in whole or in part. So now we're trying to find this definition of where's the in part, because what they said was, for example, even though NFPA 1710 and 1720 that deal with staffing, minimum staffing, are both IBRs, they said that minimum staffing is not called for in the new standard. Okay, that's great. Even though NFPA 1901, which talks about a very solid replacement policy for apparatus, 20 years, and you've got to do things. They said, we're not calling for replacement of apparatus. They said in the legislative intent of the new standard, there's specific language that says that this is here to protect the volunteer fire service and not to put it out of business. We're still trying to find some language and read it, but it did seem that they were backpedaling and very acceptant of the volunteer status that we have. With that regard, I had talked to Bob briefly about this, and I didn't get a chance to talk to you because I knew you were out of town. There is going to be a series of in-person seminars done by the National Volunteer Fire Council and the Association of Fire Districts across the state. And the first one is Wednesday night in Portland. The other 3 are farther away and are going to be at times where after I go out of town. So, I've already registered for the one in Portland, I've already got a hotel reservation, both can be canceled. But I'm seeking approval tonight to travel to Portland Wednesday afternoon, evening. Attend the seminar, the webinar, participate in it. There's something going on between college graduation and they got a team that's still in finals or something for, one of the sports teams, yeah. Hotel rooms in Portland right now, if you can get them, are more than $260 a night. So I grabbed a hotel room down in Carrier Circle for $115. $116, so it's like 35 miles away rather than trying to grab one of those expenses. But it would cost us the travel, the overnight per diem, the lodging, and you know, and that'd be it. So I could either use one of the pickups or I could use my own vehicle and get reimbursed for mileage, however it would. I should ask for approval to do that.
And Sean, I don't think we touched our convention meetings, training budget. So we're good there. And honestly, I think we'd probably rather, she's made it great. Might want to keep the trucks in service.
I'll just take my vehicle.
Mileage.
I was leaving it as an option either way. I'll take my vehicle, no problem.
I think that's probably the better.
Plus, it's a little more for that, but I figured I'd throw it out there. All right.
I'll make a motion.
By Dan, second by Chris, all in favor? Aye. Enjoy.
I'm abstaining, obviously. Thank you.
Yep. And then we talked about it a little bit last.
That's operation, around operations.
So it's okay. And we talked a little bit about the water stuff last month and stuff. Chief Koo did support, there was a Facebook post from us, there was an article just talking about Gorsville had a fire, low water pressures, and it's actually advocating for fire departments doing testing of hydrants and stuff, which I know we're not equipped for yet, but I know talking to some neighbors still having the water issues. I know Keith said the last month something about some valve or something was fixed in Troy, but there's still water pressure issues townwide. I'm wondering if we should need to get a little more, I would say aggressive, but more. I ran out in front with the town on this and really get what are the pressures.
I ran a drill for Graysville, and we used the hydrant, 2 or 3 hydrants from that one that on Lake Road that we used for the night of fire.
Yeah.
And I can say unequivocally, scientifically, that the hydrant, the water flow and the water pressure there sucked. I don't know what it was exactly, I don't know what the numbers were.
Yeah, I remember things like during the ice, it's like
2.5.
which is just,
Something's wrong there.
yep.
And I'll say that for next.
But, so I don't think should we generate some kind of letter to the town or at least start getting, I don't want to say,
You're establishing dialogue.
I don't want to get the pitchforks out, but, we are talking.
You've got some new people in the, new engineer, or relatively new engineer, you got a relatively new guy running the water department, it's not Larry anymore, that's not the old school. I think we sit down with some of those guys and say, these are the issues we're having. And there's one, we can't allow it to be just one person over there that's, oh yeah, we're taking her out, we're on top of that. And I think that's what's happened, is we've been pushing one, and we need to talk to the right people.
Yes, and there should be test records yearly, annually done. Whether it's us, I mean, I don't want to step in front on the chief's toes or whatever, but if you want us to go.
Yeah, if the ship can go, I mean, don't leave up to the fire departments for the test hydrant.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that, but at
Yeah, I
least.
mean, we should lead the way. I mean, obviously, the water pressure's bad now. I mean, we got tons of development coming in. What's that gonna do to the water pressure?
It's supposed to have gotten better with the new line
Yeah,
and
that's
everything.
not bad.
Right, it's actually gotten worse.
Not
in the
there.
neighborhoods.
Not there, that's for sure.
During the fire, we were told different things like ice and stuff, and you talk about going out in May and 25, which is.
We haven't even done any really flow on the south side of
We
43.
can't flow water because we get a phone call saying, are you guys flowing water over at the station or are you guys flowing water down here?
Our job.
Right, but it's affecting town, there's a,
You seriously can't flow water. We can't really flow water because we get a call every time we get.
So it's easier for you not to flow the water.
Yeah.
With phone calls, that's where we're running into it. I would reach out, or I reach out to Keith and find out, normally they're supposed to do flow testing.
right,
They're supposed to pick areas and go to that areas and see what the water pressure is like. And we can reach out to them, or you can reach out to them. The last time they did it was,
I know they had
I
the kid.
mean, with the new system, the new line comes down, they should be doing it again.
Also, no, the requires annual testing.
Yeah, how about hydrant maintenance also? I mean, when we did the test on the free stride, we checked the speed for it, I mean, it was like sludge coming out of the hydrant. We had the fire on Snyder's Lake Road, it took me and 2 other people to try to get the hydrant open.
And it would be carrying like cheater pipes at the end,
Yeah.
just like you need the extra.
We just,
And that's not good for the hydrants either, so.
I wouldn't use too much.
yeah,
Oh, until we get them open.
No, I understand that, but you're talking, there's a breakaway plan on that. You get too much on that, you break.
Yeah.
Now you're going.
If you want to start taking the lead on it, I mean, I'm more willing to work with you on, you know, some of the unpaid back on the side of it.
Yeah, no, you're just, now you're gonna be chasing another one.
I just want to get up there, because the issues are still there, and, you know. Anything else for operations?
we start pulling water every week at drilling, so.
Make it come out, I mean, that might be. Master stream operations, all parts of town.
Well, it may help point to some, hey, the severity of the problem we're having. You know?
Yeah, we should create a public relations model. Is it worth your while to hire a consultant to go out and do testing in places, you know, basically do a report for you?
For us to hire the consultant?
Yeah,
I mean, we could do it in-house, it's not.
yeah, I don't know, I mean, we could, hydrological engineering firm do that and say, and give you this scientific.
Probably.
wherewithal?
I don't know what the cost of that would be.
I don't know.
I think it would be, you know, a cost or a report from somebody with credentials versus, hey, Winesville, the Freesville sent a bunch of people out and they did flow tests and these are the results. I think somebody will report with somebody with credentials would probably carry a little more weight. Than, you know.
I just don't know that, I've never encountered this problem before, but you got a real problem with 25 pound pressure, right? And you're getting blown off by the town. Right? I mean, that's.
To a degree. We haven't sat down and had a real discussion with them. We've had casual discussions, we've had, you know, we talked with Bill around the street, we talked with what do you call it out on the street, we've never sat down at a table with them and said, hey, this is the problem, and the next time we have to sit down with a meeting like this, we're gonna have Joe Bott at the table.
But my point is that they're gonna keep kicking it down.
Yeah.
They have.
And
And
she was smiling, like, oh, we
And until you have something definitive, not something that a bunch of guys did on a Saturday morning, instead of cleaning up the fire, it's not gonna mean anything.
I kind of agree, though, I think an initial conversation, at least involving some of the elected officials, should happen first, and then we'll go further, go that route. I guess if I was on the town board and that happened.
And we can frame it.
And you had a conversation.
We can frame it in the fact that we are looking, and the next, probably could have talked about it in firematic operations. We can frame it in the fact that we are looking at the new proposed OSHA 1910-156, which clearly says that the fire department shall, and talks about what we need to do in making sure that our water system is prepared and ready for our use.
Are there any pumping stations in the town of North Greenbush that taking boosted pressure?
There's one.
Oh, yeah, what's the one right there at the bottom of the hill?
Sharp Road, it's the only one. Sharp Road has one that feeds Sharp Road all the way out to.
What's the one at the bottom of the hill?
That there is more of a, booster pump that fill the Pond Hill
Right,
and Snyder's Lake Tower. I believe
right there, it's, by Swiss Acres.
they turned that one off. But the one up where at the top of Overlook. That's what that's for.
Oh.
It's to fill those two towers.
They don't use that one there by Swiss Acres anymore?
That one I do believe, and I have to double check, but I think that was disconnected because that was all the wells in that area would feed that water tower and then the water would feed the residents. So now that they've actually turned the.
That would, we could talk later about that. I think we're talking about two different pumps.
The one down the pump, actually.
By the apartments.
Yeah.
What kind of pressure are you getting out of the city of Troy?
This all goes back to what the council just said, is we don't know what, on any given day, what's.
Let's start with Chris and I. We'll figure out the context, if the rest of the board's okay with it, or it's a conversation, dual conversation with Joe Bott, council members, and then also with Keith. That, you know, this is becoming a concern, and you can also start bringing this up with planning board meetings, because, we talk about traffic all the time, nobody's talking about water. And, Dan's right, we don't want to blindside them, but give them the opportunity to address it, then, we got to escalate a little bit, then it's all, but you and I, maybe this month, we'll reach out, and hopefully have something back for June, if everybody's okay with that. Good.
It almost sounds like it's out of city choice.
Right, but
There's not enough water pressure coming.
people on Lake Water noticing that since the new line went in place,
Right.
they've dropped pressure, they've lost pressure. People on Taliska are saying, I don't need to use my pump anymore. People are buying pumps. Yeah, so something's going on with the water. And, 25, you go up towards Montessori, and it's probably even less than that.
As I know, the town of Brunswick, but 3 of them in 2 years ago. 12-month Timers Avenue, there's one right on the mountain fire department's property.
Yeah, you look at development demand on water.
Pressure.
So we can.
All right, so we'll see what we can get set up here in the next couple of weeks. Recruitment retention, Rich and Chris.
I got a couple things. I think first off, probably Jeff came to me with a report on something, an activity he participated in, and I thought it was pretty good. And I asked him if he could be prepared to, I knew he was gonna be at the meeting, if he could be prepared to present on it, rather than me trying to repeat what he had told me. Jeff?
Yeah, so on May 3rd, I was invited to attend a recruitment event held over at the South Colony High School, which is Colony High School, not to be used as Shaker, Park College. So that school district created a project, and they've done it a couple times now with all fire departments within their school district. They had a recruitment day at the high school where the school allotted time for students that are of age, junior and seniors, during their either lunch break or gym. They could attend the recruitment event, which was held outside. And what they did was, in groups of 50 to 75 students at a time during a period, one of the chiefs of one of the departments, who's also a teacher, was like the spokesperson. So they gathered the kids around. He spoke to them about why they're there, purposes for recruitment, for new firefighters, and then he introduced a couple students or past students who are of these kids' ages, and said, why did they join the fire department? And these kids spoke up, and they spoke very nicely, identifying why they joined the fire department, how much of a team building experience it is, the benefits of being a volunteer firefighter, the people they've met in their time of being a firefighter, and it kind of made a good connection with those students. After they were done with their initial briefing, they broke up the groups into their neighborhoods where they're from. So they basically said, what elementary school did you go to? And that's the local fire department, whether it's Fuller Road, West Albany, Midway, Stanford Heights. They broke them all up into groups, and each department had a recruitment booth. They had an engine or a ladder company, and they had a whole lineup of skills for the kids to actually participate in. They gear up, and after they let them do some of the skills, they regrouped them and said, now who would be interested in being a firefighter? And so a lot of kids took home information, and if the kids were really serious, the superintendent was there to say, why don't you skip this class? Why don't you stay out here again and do this again and get more information and take it home to your parents? And it's my understanding it was an overwhelming success. The town supervisor came. The kids out there in county are all in with the supervisor over there now, because being a former judge, he had a lot of, court sessions and stuff like that he was in the schools, working with them on their criminal justice program. So the kids have a connection with him, and it was a total success. I left just as we were getting a call for a structured fire, so I ended up coming back over here, but it was a success. I don't know the full number as to how many people they recruited that day, but it's something that I'm bringing back, and I gathered some pamphlets together as to what some of the information the companies over there had. And it's my goal present this to our recruitment committee. We are going to reach out to the East Greenwich School District and say, hey, would this be a good thing for us to do if we got all the departments in the East Greenwich School District together to have a recruitment day? And it wouldn't be where you just have a table and you sit down and, wait for a kid to come to you. This is interactive. The kids are actually getting briefed, they're getting broken down into the fire department and the community where they live. And they learn more about the fire department, and then they get to practice some basic skills to get their interest. And I think it's something that could benefit all fire departments, not only in our county, but the whole East Greenwich School District in Southern Rensselaer County. And then going forward, we have Haverhill Park in our district, we've got City of Troy in our district, and is that a pool that we might be able to draw from? I don't know, but I think this would be a starting point with us reaching out. And I know Columbia High School has already reached out to our fire department and talked to somebody, just saying, hey, if you guys do have something you want to bring forward to school, let us know. So, I know Mr. Simons is very pro fire department, and I don't think we have a problem setting up a program identical to what Colony's already doing. And I know they're already working with North Colony School District, setting up for the northern end of the Colony to do the same thing. So obviously, if it wasn't a success, if they wouldn't be doing this over again, I think it was a very successful.
I like that idea. So we did that one year down in Columbia where it was just set up at a table and you're trying to grab kids in between periods. Thought was there, but that was not effective.
There's got to be a commitment from the school district to allow those students to come outside and meet with the firefighters and actually participate in something to get their interest, to see if they can do it. And then if they're serious, then you give them a little extra time, and then you just may end up getting some parents involved too, with the kids. You never know what you're gonna get, so. That's all.
Thank you, appreciate that, Jeff. I couldn't have repeated all that as well.
No, I mean, I heard a little bit bits and pieces after one of the calls.
It was great. I had.
Additionally, with recruitment and retention, I've been on the National Volunteer Fire Council website a lot because of the stuff that they have posted with regard to the OSHA standard. And they've got quite a bit related to recruitment and retention. Unfortunately, some of the stuff I want to get to is behind the firewall because we're not members, or I'm not a member, or whatever. Costs $21 a piece for people to become members. I don't know how many people we would want to, but one of the things that I found is that they've got some online virtual classroom stuff for recruits that, would free up some of those hours that, you look at the stuff that a recruit just used to get the first year. They go on a course they call the new recruit track that looks at the fire service history. I'm reading the topics here. Bridging the divide talks about diversity and inclusion, stress and life management. So you're talking to people that are coming in about, hey, there's going to be stress, but you got to balance family and balance all that stuff. The way forward, talking about some of the modern things we need to worry about the fire service, the culture of the volunteer fire service, risk management for new volunteer firefighters, the path for recruit to white helmet, and then evaluation that they learn something in those modules and they get a certificate for it. So these are, these are some classes that we could utilize, I think, to our benefit as we're training some of these new recruits. So I want to take a better look at it. I don't know if I can just put the $21 on the district credit card and have you submit it for next month, or
We have a dues line, I assume we have some kind of.
Yeah, we got.
That's not gonna break the bank.
$21 down. I'll do it myself if you want me to. I just want to,
I do mine myself.
What?
I do mine myself.
Pretty good, man.
Would you wanna get because you're both on the same committee? Both of you skip.
Yeah, that way you got one side of it.
Yeah,
Not just one side, but you are on the committee.
Well, that,
you go part of this.
the recruitment retention committee on the other side want to take a peek at, it's not that hard to pull up on a tablet or something. Log in.
Yeah, they are like, oh, get everybody in your fire department to know $21 a piece. Like, it's a little.
No, but I would ask that obviously take that and, bring back to the respective companies too, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, just like,
I'll move forward with it. I'll get Chris and I enrolled and we'll get there.
I think it's like we're talking $42, we don't need a resolution on that.
And that's, the only other thing I had was, I made some notes here about figuring out how we could potentially start a simple database of, maybe even just a spreadsheet collecting, data on, when we get a new recruit, where do they live, what's their age, and how long did it take them to reach riding status, and, how long did they stay active? And we can kind of get some demographics moving forward. I'm rattling through my mind how we could do it, but it's probably a good idea. I think like somebody brought up earlier, we should probably have that kind of information available. So we're gonna figure out-
Yeah, the trigger riding status is, I'm sure, if you were a chief, so is, it all comes down also on that person.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody's really gung ho, you get them on the truck pretty quick.
Yeah.
But awesome.
That's all I got.
Anything else for crew retention? Public session, anything for public session? Public session. Okay, hearing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn. Rick, seconded by Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Lee.